is with great pleasure that I announce this morning the 2012 Valedictorian who will speak to us in just a moment. This person is chosen amongst the Year 12 peer group as somebody who represents their peers and can speak on their behalf. And it gives me very, very great pleasure this morning in announcing that the 2012 Valedictorian is Matthew Whitney.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I only have one memory of my first week in Year 4 at this school. I was lost. I remember lining up in a class, so reclusive during my first days that I was utterly oblivious to the fact that I joined Year 3 for a bout of sport. I scarcely knew where I was. At this stage, I wasn't really sure who I was, and it goes without saying, I had absolutely no hope of distinguishing the Lamartina twins. Although this memory is vivid right now, Year 4 is a very distant world. Why? What's changed? Well, firstly, and most importantly, we have an emerging sense of who we are. Some of us are lucky enough to have a more developed sense of this than others. But the point is this. Over the years, we have all developed a greater sense of our place, who we are as people, and how we fit. Of course, there is something acutely paradoxical about this. How can you develop an authentic sense of who you are while at the same time fitting in? Isn't this simply a long-winded way of describing conformity? Well, it's quite the opposite. I am forever grateful to this school for the environment of acceptance that it has fostered. We have been given the freedom, in fact, the active support and encouragement to pursue our passions and interests as far as we can take them. We are all different in this respect. The musician, the footballer, the athlete, the academic, the dancer, the cadet, and the actor. But we share an important bond based on acceptance and respect for everyone's right to pursue their passion. When you find your passion, you begin to understand who you are, and those that bravely follow this deserve the highest respect. These people have chosen not to sink into conformity, but have a commitment to be true to themselves. My passion is music performance, and no matter how energetically I pursue this, I enjoy a special bond with each of the disparate and diverse members of the class of 2012. The positive environment of the school has given us the tools to be more individualistic than ever. Being interested in what you do is essential to success, as a passion gives you the motivation to work hard. One of the most important traits of an effective school is encouraging its students to expand and develop their outlook and their skills. For me, when preparing for a violin performance, one of the most important components of this often interminable process is discipline. It's often the case when practicing the violin that I find that I'm stressed, under a time limit, and trying to distill all the habitual actions of 14 years of practice into one bar. At times, you just want to throw down that blasted piece of wood and just simply give up. Trust me, this happens nearly every practice session. So why haven't I given up, and why bother? In part, I've drawn inspiration from my teachers, one of whom mastered the violin whilst shut in a cupboard in an icy Siberian hut. That's the sort of discipline which makes my bouts of despair seem petulant and shameful by comparison. I remember Mr. Dowdall once describing the difficulty of playing a Shostakovich romance. I imagine there are times when the weight of expectation on Lockie Whitfield becomes daunting, and I can relate to the gut-churning fear that Jackie Sanya might experience prior to a performance that something, maybe this time, might go wrong. Yet if you are passionate about what you do, then you are not motivated, or more to the point, debilitated by these fears. I expect that Lockie chases the Sharon for the pure joy of the game and the thrill of raw competition. I imagine that Jackie sings for the rush of performing in front of an audience. And when I play Shostakovich, I become so engrossed that I am taken to another place. Music, according to Dr. Johnston, is indeed the only sensual pleasure without vice. It's important to be passionate about whatever it is that you choose to do. Without passion and enjoyment, there is little chance of success. Our teachers have left us many hurdles in life and have left an indelible mark. I fondly recall one particular maths class in Year 8 in which Mr. Hewitson insisted on a neat and ordered maths book. Not drawing margins, ruling graphs, writing out the questions all seemed, well, easy to get away with. And I was that sort of person who was notorious in primary school for writing in my books upside down, back to front, or in any sort of disarray. It wasn't until Mr. Hewitson refused to pass our books, unless they were neatly ordered, that I finally realised that something as simple as putting a bit more effort into the neatness of a book can in fact go a long way. I say this because without an organised approach to maths, I would never have discovered my curiosity for the mathematical sciences. Thank you, Mr. Hewitson, for the invaluable lesson that you imparted to me. I also wish to thank all the other teachers at Peninsula for the invaluable lessons taught during our years at the school. I'm sure that everyone can recall a moment in their time at the school in which a favourite teacher left their mark. Each of you, in inestimable ways, has made a difference. I know that I speak on behalf of the class of 2012 when I say that we are grateful for this. It's not just hard work and discipline that we stumbled on during our time at Peninsula, but a profound experience of a community in a sea of 159 highly individual students. We've come a long way. At the end of my 9-year association with the school, I have an understanding of who I am and who I would like to be. Our years together have given us something far more than just an education. Recalling our time at Peninsula, few will treasure most the quadratic formula, the periodic table, or Shakespearean quotations. Instead, you will recall the spirit of altruism that prevailed in the common room during the hours before a method sack, the shared trepidation and mutual support before an examination, and the unspoken but enduring bond that will forever bond us as the class of 2012. I may still have difficulty recognising Anthony from Robert Lamartina, but I now know who I am. I am no longer lost. To the class of 2012, continue to celebrate your unique personalities and differences. Don't be afraid to form new bonds with the people you meet as you go out into the workforce or undertake further study. Follow your passions and interests and be true to yourself. Remember that nothing comes easily and there is no substitute for hard work. And never forget the bonds that connect us, for we are the class of 2012. Thank you.